Before he was a hero, he was a prisoner of his own pride. This is the story of how Iron Man was forged not just in metal, but in pain, guilt, and redemption. But what he didn't know was that his weapons were killing innocent lives. The convoy was attacked. Tony was kidnapped. But the bomb that nearly killed him, it was one of his own. Tony Stark, billionaire, genius, playboy, inventor. He had it all. Money, fame, women. Yinsen saved his life with an electromagnet to his chest powered by a car battery, and gave him something no one ever had before. At a weapons demo in Afghanistan, his world changed forever. Inside a dark cave, wounded and trapped, he met a man named Yinsen. Purpose. Together, they built something in secret, a suit of armor, powered by an arc reactor, to break free. But Yinsen made Tony promise one thing. Don't waste your life. Yinsen died buying him time. Tony escaped, but something inside him changed forever. Back in the US, Tony shut down Stark Industries' weapons division. Everyone thought he was insane, faster, and made a monstrous suit of his own. Sleeker, weaponized, but even his closest friend, Rhodey, didn't understand. Until Pepper Potts, his loyal assistant, overloaded the arc reactor, destroying Stane once and for all. But Tony started building something new, an upgraded suit, Iron Man. But darkness lurked inside his own company. Obadiah Stane, his father's old partner, had betrayed him selling weapons to terrorists for years. Stane stole Tony's technology. He forged a legacy. It was a battle of titans. He was never satisfied with the status quo and always sought to push the boundaries of technology, often with weapons of mass destruction. Living life in the fast lane, Tony lived large, never considering the consequences of his actions because in his mind, he was untouchable. That was until he met an old fellow prisoner named Yinsen. Yinsen saved Tony's life and the two became cellmates. Tony had actually been hard at work in his garage building a new version of the Iron Man suit that he had worn when escaping from captivity. Meanwhile, outside of Stark Industries, Tony's longtime friend and mentor, Obadiah Stane, aka the Ironmonger, was secretly working on a suit of armor of his own using the tech that Tony had stolen from him. In the end, Tony was able to defeat Stane by having Pepper Potts help him destroy the reactor, and instead said the iconic line, "I am Iron Man." With that, one of the greatest heroes in the Marvel Universe was born. Although it meant sacrificing the suit, it also meant the death of Stane. But not before he gave Tony one last, "You're welcome." Tony survived, but he was soon visited by military officials who demanded that he reveal the identity of Iron Man. They basically said that if he didn't cooperate, then they'd exposed him as the Iron Man anyway. So Tony decided to play their game and gave them just enough information to make them think that his bodyguard, Happy Hogan, was Iron Man. All along, Stane had been envious of Tony and wanted to be a superhero himself, but without the honor or humility. His massive suit of armor was aptly named the Ironmonger. And if you thought that the suit that Tony built in the cave was impressive, then just wait until you saw what he built in his garage. It took him several tries, but eventually he was able to perfect the suit. And boy, did it look good. Tony upgraded the suit to include the iconic red and gold color scheme and equipped it with repulsor technology that was powered by the arc reactor. This would become the most recognizable suit in the Marvel Universe. Eventually, Tony was able to convince Yinsen to help him build a suit of armor to escape the cave. And just as their plan was set in motion, Yinsen was killed. But not before telling Tony, "Don't waste your life." With newfound purpose, Tony successfully escaped and returned home. That was until one fateful day when Tony got caught with his pants down. But Tony was adamant that he was telling the truth. So much so that he ended up holding a press conference where he announced that Stark Industries would cease to exist and that he would no longer be making weapons. The world, including his own friends, thought that Tony had completely lost his mind. But really, Tony had a secret plan in the works. Ironmonger versus Iron Man. But before he knows it, he has been ambushed and kidnapped by a group of terrorists who turned out to be using his own weapons against him. After getting shot and left for dead, Tony wakes up only to find out that the cave he is in is filled with the advanced weaponry that his company had sold to the terrorist organization. As Tony would soon find out, they were using his tech to attack US military bases in Afghanistan. Realizing the magnitude of his mistake, Tony made it his mission to get out of the cave alive and set things right. But Tony was running low on power. The world wanted to know who the man in the suit was. Tony was supposed to say it was a bodyguard, stick to the script, keep the secret, but that wasn't Tony Stark. I am Iron Man. With those 4 words, he didn't just reveal his identity, he changed the world forever. He wasn't a perfect man, but in the armor he found purpose. In the pain, he found strength. And in the fire, this was the origin of Iron Man, the ingenious billionaire, world's greatest inventor, ladies' man, and all-around playboy. Meet Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Tony Stark built his empire from the ground up. The film opens with Tony demonstrating his latest and greatest weapons of mass destruction to potential buyers. But before he could do anything, he got injured again and was dying a horrible, painful death. At first, everyone thought Tony was crazy for claiming that there was a terrorist, Organization, in Afghanistan, using his weapons against the US military, while everyone was under the impression that he was just a regular old billionaire. But Tony wasn't done yet. In fact, he still had some major upgrades planned. The two eventually came into conflict, and the resulting battle was epic. However, when the time came for Tony to officially announce who Iron Man was, he decided to go all in. Now watch this next video to learn more about Iron Man, or click this other video instead.